Verkehrsdesigner ist Martin Otto from Münster, Deutschland. Und ich wohne in Deutschland 5 Jahre und gehe in zur Schule in Nuremberg.
I don't know what you said, but it sounds good.
I lived there in 5 years.
You
For
did?
5 years I went to high school in Nuremberg where they had the war trials.
Really? That must have been pretty intense.
We went the first time in 1955 when I was a little kid, and a lot of devastation still. You know, the war had only been over for 10 years. A lot of devastation.
For the Saugerties circuit champions. Again, our congratulations.
And I played basketball in high school, so we got to travel to all the big southern cities in Germany to play basketball. It's like being in the pros. We even got $2.50 a day per diem. But a hamburger was 15 cents. You know, French fries were 15 cents. So.
Survivors, we are going to ask
that was a lot of money.
To finish up here in the next couple minutes. We are going to clear the Prix Stadium here, so it starts to move along. But just do a quick touch-up. We have our opening ceremonies as well as are ahead of us, and we'll give you a quick rundown and a run around the courts for the $1 million Saugerties $1 million Grand Prix. Survivors, we'll ask you to try to finish up, if you will, out in the courts. Tractors will be back in action here in just a moment.
Are these all the riders?
Well, the riders all have white pants on.
Okay. Right. Yeah, they all look pretty well put together.
Designer Martin Otto has designed the tests for this year. This is the 8th year of our Saugerties Million, and we have the formidable test ahead of the riders. 14 obstacles, 17 jumping efforts involved as they begin their journey around the course at the #1 fence. That is a spread oxer.
That's the time allowed,
Take a loop to the left, so a slight angle to the left, and as you negotiate #2. That's the ride to win vertical. A right-hand turn up in front of the main grandstand through the honeycomb oxer, that's #3, and straight into the triple combination. You have the oxer, vertical oxer, at the triple for A, B, and C. From there, it takes a right-hand turn to negotiate the Prina. The Prina oxer, the red and white, take a slight left-hand turn angle over the water jump, open water here today, and on to #7. One of our tallest fences is here, 60 in height, and this is the white rails, the 2 white rails that are flanked by the single standards at fence #7. The Hickstead vertical at fence #7. The right-hand turn, and I'll loop around to the card oxer, fence #8, up through the diagonal, straight ahead to the Hicks Triumph line, Hicks Racing Series, double combination with the Liverpool or water carriers to 8, fences 7, 9A, and 9B. Straight ahead to the #10 fence, an oxer, then around homeward bound as we head to the #11 vertical by the Indian area, and this is Great American Vertical, fence #11, around to #12. The skinny, the narrow white vertical, heading towards the Indian area, and then finishing up over the black and white triple bar, front of our announcer and judges position, and over the #14 fence, the rainbow with the pot of gold. The pot of gold rainbow oxer, fence 14, up in front of our VIP area, will be the last fence here in the opening round. 14 number obstacles, 17 efforts involved in the first round of the Saugerties $1 million Grand Prix.
What's the time allowed? Time allowed? What's the time allowed? He doesn't give us the time allowed. Maybe because he doesn't have it yet.
Oh, they don't have the time allowed for
the first round.
Oh. Right. I think I put it in my pocket.
I've been carrying like tissue
Oh.
and like my sleeve.
Yeah. I just didn't want it to blow away and pollute.
It'll be Florence thing. It's so funny to kind of come and go. No clothes. Horses are gorgeous, huh?
Oh,
Calgary Central Racing to the West Point Corps of Cadets, Pipes and Drums. The course is now closed. We'll ask the riders, trainers,
Okay.
and all of our enthusiastic
Sieben on the Arctic.
to head out.
Make
We'll
sure
get all
you
prepared
hear
now as
everyone
the
like
top
you're
of the
good.
order is getting ready as well.
Oh, yeah, we
have
did
the
that
field of
already.
41 showing this afternoon, and it's a $1 million
Okay, I can't see the
Saturday,
scoreboard.
Sunday afternoon here in Saugerties.
That's
The
terrible.
Here for the $1 million here at Hicks on Hudson 8.
I never thought of that. I can't see the scoreboard at all.
4 years in Ocala, all part of the Hicks involvement in bringing you the very best.
Maybe I'll see it from over there. I'll see it from the other side.
In North America
Where?
and the world.
The one over here.
We'll be underway here in just a moment. Our opening ceremonies.
Yeah, Sieben on the Arctic.
So the course is now closed.
You're gonna have to hustle as usual. There's no free lunch here.
Could you talk to
Top
Dave on
prize
the
this afternoon,
microphone?
$230,000 out of the $1 million purse, 41 will go in the first round of the Tiger Shop-Off format.
All right.
Five-star week, that's the ultimate
Talk back.
rankings, the rating, with the prize money involved, and we're about
And I talk to you regularly here
of $1 million
on the Rad TV network, or as we like to say, worldequestrian.com network. A lot of wind.
I mentioned in total it's 14 countries.
What about the course description? Do we care about that?
First round action, and you get 7 riders that are ranked in the top 100 in the worldwide Longines FEI rankings. So 14 countries represented here today, and again a record field, 41 starters in the first round of the Saugerties Million. About to get underway with our opening ceremonies as we honor this great country of ours and get the special presentation on the way. Since the days of the American Revolution, flag bearers have been an important element in ceremonies carrying on that tradition. Bearing the national color is the United States Corps of Cadets Color Guard. Many former members of the Guard have gone on to make notable contributions to our nation's history, to include our 34th President, Dwight D. Eisenhower. The Color Guard is under the direction of Sergeant First Class Daniel.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome once again to beautiful Saugerties, New York, here in the Hudson Valley, not far from the Hudson River. Beautiful afternoon. Our color guard coming in now as we prepare for the opening ceremonies in today's $1 million event. FEI CSI 5-star, highest rating you can have with $1 million purse. It'll be a fabulous afternoon of show jumping as the crowd continues to grow. We have an incredible field of horses and riders for today's million. It's the 8th year of the $1 million Grand Prix here in Saugerties, New York. And as we can see the color guard, we're preparing for the opening ceremony.
And also marching is Team Captain Matilda Brady from Easton, Connecticut, class of 2019. These young men and women, as well as the rest of the West Point Corps of Cadets, look forward to a minimum 5-year commitment to duty, honor, and country. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise at this time? And at this time, we would like
All
to
standing now as we prepare to formally open, as we do on every occasion in Grand Prix show jumping, with the national anthem. And our wishes go out to all of those who keep us safe in uniform.
And we Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we ask you to remain standing. We ask you to remain standing now as we honor this great country of ours, as we welcome the Army Band member Master Sergeant Mary K. Messenger from Marlborough, New York, to sing our national anthem.
Beautiful rendition of our national anthem by a member of the military. Let's take a look now at the course. Our course designer from Germany is Martin Otto, and the course will start over an ox or a spread fence. It has a gate underneath and apparently something near wagon wheel standards. Then there'll be a left-handed dog leg run to fence number 2. It's the ride to win vertical. A right-hand turn then on the far side from our position here and right in front of the major grandstand area to fence number 3, a honeycomb oxer. Then it's 6 or 7 strides, rider choice, on the way down to an early gymnastic effort, which is the triple combination. There's an oxer, 2 strides, a vertical, 2 strides, and an oxer out of that triple combination. They'll go right-handed then in front of our pavilion, and they'll come to fence number 5, an oxer, which is sponsored by Purina, one of the #1 feeds for horses around the world. Then a left-hand turn and a different kind of test to an open water. There's no rails, an open water, and the horse must clear the water completely. There's a white strip on the landing side called the lath. It's 3.8 meters or 12.5 feet wide. And then there's a difficult test as they gallop forward in about 7 strides to what's called the Hickstead vertical. It's very airy. It's just 2 rails. There are no standards on the sides. And then a right-hand turn as they come back toward the in-gate area over the royal flush fence, if you will. It is all in hearts and big and wide. Then a difficult ride down, 5 or so strides on a bending line to a tight combination of vertical Liverpools. And then on to fence number 10. We'll continue that as we begin to watch the first of our riders. This is Kiwi de Sanger Z, owned by Mr. and Mrs. Ralph Caristo of Saugerties, New York. Heather Caristo is aboard, Heather Caristo Williams. And this is an 11-year-old Zangerscheid stallion. So we can see that fence 1 and 2. Here's fence number 3. As you can see, it's big and wide as she gallops down to the gymnastic test of the triple combination, rattles that vertical or that oxer quite hard and lands heavily on the back rail of the C element of the triple combination. So it's early in the course, that triple combination, and proving to be difficult. Here's the 3.8 meters of water. The flag has gone up, signifying that they did touch the lath there, so that's another 4 faults. So what we're looking at now is at least an 8 fault score as she comes to this big oxer here and now down to this tight combination, and it is the Hits triathlon fence. And here we got some serious trouble as she lost her reins over that fence there at 9B. And I think she's going to withdraw, basically, is what's going to happen. We did not hear the tone sounding that I think she might have had an equipment failure too. So a tough break here for Heather Caristo-Williams, first of our 41 starters today. And joining us next is Tula Moon. Charlie Jane out of Wellington, Florida, who's a former winner of a $1 million event in Florida on the hit circuit. A different horse today, Tula Moon, a 9-year-old Belgian mare. Owned by Alex Jane and Maura Thatcher out of Chicago area and Utah. This particular combination, 8 times money earners on the campaign this year. And again, he's one of 3 riders that have captured a title here on the $1 million circuit offered by hits. Tula Moon and Charlie Jane. So we'll see how Charlie does. One of the taller riders. This horse is actually probably in the 16 3-hand range, but Charlie is about 6'5". He's one of the tall riders in the field this afternoon, and another of the $1 million winners from Germany. You'll see him a bit later, also about 6'5". Here's fence number 2. Now the time allowed calculated at 375 meters per minute is at 87 seconds. Into the gymnastic. And you can hear him asking for help. It's very wide coming out, and again that rail comes down at sea, and early on that may be a challenge for a lot of riders. Little incentive to get over the water there with the stick from Mr. Jane. The Hickstead vertical. Again, Darth of standards, so you really need to have your horse focus there. Coming up here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's adding a stride there. Could do in a forward 5. He elects to do in 6. Tough 4 strides out there. So 2 rails at this point, 8 faults. Good meter 60 vertical here at the Great American Insurance, also one of the main sponsors of the $1 million campaign. Their event taking place earlier in the year in Ocala, Florida. Again, a meter 60 at the Statue of Liberty jump. And now he's on his way home. Again, 87 seconds the time allowed. Doesn't make it over the triple bar. And now it's a test to get down and over this huge oxer at the Rainbow Pot of Gold fence. And he collects, I believe it's 12 faults. I believe 12 jumping faults, and he has 1 time penalty, 87.32. 12 faults in 87.32. So the course definitely is matching the prize money at $1 million. So it's 12 plus 1, 13 total for Charlie Jane and Tula Moon. Coming up next, this is Brilliant de Rouet, owned by Lubov Kochetova and ridden by Colombian Roberto Duran. 12-year-old Oldenburg gelding, $100,000 winner in Traverse City up in the Michigan area earlier in the season. And Roberto Duran is also a winner of one of our $1 million events, won the competition at Ocala, Florida last season. So Brilliant de Rouet, another of the $1 million winners, and we'll see how he does here on Martin Otto's course today. Absolutely a beautiful day, just a very light wind blowing, white puffy clouds, and a great day for show jumping in over the honeycomb on the way to the triple combination. Now, can he get out? Oh, and he does with the rub in front, so it certainly is jumpable, but it is very wide coming out of that triple. Here's the Purina Oxer, now the 3.8 meters of open water. And he makes a huge effort there. Hickstead vertical here. 87 seconds. He's a little wide coming round to the Hart's Oxer. Here's the triathlon vertical combination. Things going very well for Roberto. Great American Insurance was the Grand Prix he won for $1 million in Florida. Rounding the turn now, no faults, 69 seconds. He could be good on the time, but Statue of Liberty comes down for 4.
Into the big wide triple bar. The horse is jumping great. Roberto really aggressive here to the last. It might be a problem, and it does turn out to be a problem. An 8-fault score, and his reference time with 8 faults is 84.52. 84.52 with 8 faults, and that is for Brilliant de Rouet. So we know that triple combination can be jumped. And here comes another one of our Colombian riders. 2 times a winner in Bogota, Colombia on this 10-year-old warm-blood stallion. Happy Wandervant Ruseca and Carlos Ramirez riding internationally for Colombia. And again, twice a winner in Bogota in Grand Prix competition. 7 times a money earner on the 2017 campaign today. So what will his approach be? He's had an opportunity to see 2 horses go, gets a feel for the difficult areas, which is certainly early on in that triple combination. From Colombia, Happy Wandervant Ruseca and Carlos Ramirez. No time to dawdle again with the 87-second time allowed. He's awfully deep going around the turn after 2. Time will probably be a factor for a lot of the riders today. Down at the A, and oh, watch this C at the C as well. Early on, triple combination, very athletic endeavor necessary. So a quick 8 faults for our Colombian friend. And a big splash at the water, up to 12 now as he comes to the Hickstead vertical. And he's going wide now as he comes around to the Hearts Oxer. Sends him down to this difficult vertical combination. Jumps that very nicely on the 4 strides down to fence number 10. Time will probably be a factor here for him, wide on a few of the turns, and realizing with so many faults early on, there's another rail that he needed to slow down. Oh boy, there's an effort, but it didn't pan out there. So in the neighborhood of 20 faults plus 2 on the clock, 22 total, and the course is definitely a tough one. 22 faults here for Happy Wandervant Ruseca.
Somebody note the water jump as part of our course here today is obstacle number 6, has a 12.5-foot jumping distance. They land in the water on a marking strip. The plasticine on the landing.
Coming up next on the Martin Auto course here for the $1 million event is Fedor, a 12-year-old Belgian gelding owned by Southern Cross Equestrian out of Reddick, Florida. Scott Keach is aboard. Had 2 major victories this season already, and in addition to the 2 victories, he's also done quite well on a consistency basis. 10 times a money earner on the campaign. So he could be prime. However, the number of times the riders have had a chance to jump at 1.60 m in a 5-star event, it is limited, you know, to just a few events. All of the $1 million Grand Prix, save for the one that was in Coachella Valley this year, are all in the neighborhood of 1.60 m. Fence number 3 is down. There's a plank there on top of that. A very hard rub at the A element, and able to get out over C. Carrying 4 faults as he comes round the turn to the Prix Oxer. It's quite wide as well. And now the water. A little extra incentive there to get over the water, but that makes the Hickstead vertical even tougher. But manages that, going a bit wide now as he comes round to the Hart Oxer. Actually, his Hart's clubs and everything wrapped into one. Short 1 stride in here, followed by the 4 strides here, but not working out well for Mr. Keach. 2 rails and 8 faults now. Great American at 1.60 m, a full 1.60 m. So is the Statue of Liberty. Comes around the turn here. There goes the Statue of Liberty down. We're up to a dozen now. Triple bar is a good 7 feet wide. And now the adjustment that's necessary to get over this fence at 14. So a dozen faults, and he just snuck under the time allowed at 86.66, and he collects 12 in 86.66.
Roberto Tran leading the way right now with 8 faults. That's the best so far here early on. Also representing Colombia.
A very tough afternoon for the riders thus far. Coming up next is Kulash van der Broye Z and Juan Manuel Gallego. He also rides for Colombia. An 11-year-old Zangerscheide gelding, World Cup competitor in Bromont, Canada, and on the season so far in international competition, 8 times a money earner. Kulash van der Broye Z and Colombian Juan Manuel Gallego. It would appear he's taking his time a little early on. Costly on the clock, but it might allow him. I think he's going to add up one stride at least here. That could make that very tough. That comes down at the A, and the C comes down. Just not enough impulsion and gas there, added up without much going forward into that gymnastic effort. Purina at number 5 is clear. Hustling here for the water. Nicely done at the Hickstead vertical, and again deep in the turn. I don't know that you can take that much real estate without paying a penalty later on the clock. Jumps beautifully through the triathlon. Fortunately, number 10 is not generous to Senor Gallego. So he's a dozen as he comes to the Statue of Liberty, rounding the turn. Beams in on the 7-foot wide triple bar that'll lead him home to fence number 14, the pot of gold rainbow oxer. It's big and it is impressive, and he does an impressive effort over that, but he does collect 12 plus 1 on the clock for 13. He's the slower of the 13 falters, an 88.18, and that could become a factor later on for sure when they hand out the winner's share and on down the line in the $1 million prize money when we get to that point.
One for every 4 seconds over under our international rules that prevail here today. We introduce our next rider here is Candace King and her Saugerties $1 million mount.
Callisto 26 now. A 10-year-old Oldenburg gelding owned by Ross Smith of Morriston, Florida. Candace King, who's won many times, yet to capture one of the $1 million events. However, many times a Grand Prix winner from the 100,000 area up and down. And this horse in particular, 13 times she's been in the money this season. So she's quite an accomplished veteran. Looking for our first clear round. Callisto 26 and Candace King. Again, it's a bit of a deep ride into the corner there to fence number 3, and it comes down rail behind. Now she's got to move forward. Rattles the A and is out over the C. Worked out better than it looked like it was going to. Now trying to hustle up for here. Purina, he's sucking back pretty badly. Costly at Purina. May not get over the water. Doesn't. Backing up, unfortunately, a little too much for the magnitude of these obstacles. It's not a pretty good effort there. She adds a stride to what could be a flowing 5 or conservative 6. Gets out over 10. Here's the meter 60s in a row, verticals. Narrow rails here also at the Statue of Liberty. Pretty good rep, but keeps its position. And you can see she's encouraging him, but he's not responding well enough. A little bit of trouble here. And lands on the back rail. So a tough round here, a tough round. 20 faults here. And on the clock, there will be a time penalty as well in 89-17. Total of 20 faults.
Also add on one time fault for a total of 21, but time 89.17 seconds. Once again, we see that time allowed at 87 seconds. Time is just a factor here on course.
So 20 plus 1, total 21 here.
Introducing our youngest rider here this afternoon in our 41 rider lineup. 19-year-old rider Hunter Holloway.
Here's one of our youngest riders now, just 19 years old. Started her Grand Prix career, though, about the tender age of 13, and certainly is the pride of Kansas as far as show jumping is concerned. This is Hunter Holloway from Topeka, Kansas, riding for Hayes Investment Corporation of Auburn, Kansas on VDL Bravo S, an 11-year-old Dutch gelding. She was a winner on the Ocala circuit in 17 times. I mean, she's being a riding machine in 2017. 17 times she's earned money in the Grand Prix competition. 4 times earning money in 4-star events. This is a 5-star event. But one of the youngest and one of the best that has ever come out of the Midwest as far as Grand Prix show jumping riders. Also a very good horsemanship rider. Hunter Holloway out of Kansas. Big gray horse. This girl stands at least 6'1", if not more. She also goes a bit deep, but I think that this horse has enough impulsion to come into the combination, wraps that hard, gets out over the C element, but the A element came down. Actually obscured from our view. 5, here's the water. Nice effort there. A lot of restraint here at the Hickstead. You can see she's kind of trying to move up, but going deeply there. Horse cross cantering behind now. That's going to be a little disconcerting as she comes to this big oxer. If he puts himself back together, I need to compress in this vertical combination. Oh, and he does that beautifully. But too close to the front rail. That is a big oxer there. It's very close to a meter 60. Tap of the Great American, rounding the turn, carrying 8 faults. At this point, that's a very good score. But now it's 12. Gallop down to this big, wide triple bar. Now what do we do? But this horse has the stride to just take it right down there. Beautiful job there. A 12-fault score, though. 1 on the clock as well in 89-29. So it's another 13-faulter. And that is the slowest of our 13s in 89-29. And that is for VDL Bravo S out of Kansas.
Top young riders were all represented in our opening round lineup for today. Here's 22-year-old Brittany Raflowitz from Palm City, Florida. She's up on the ESI show jumpers.
Hilton van de Prix. ESI show jumpers entry from Palm City, Florida, with Brittany Raflowitz. Was a young riders medalist in the Continental and what we used to call the Continental, but now it's the North American Young Riders competition. Also had an excellent season in Europe, riding for some international experience. Hilton van de Prix, a 10-year-old Belgian gelding. So we'll see how this young rider handles this course. We just saw the youngest rider in the field at 19. I believe Miss Raflowitz is 21. So some of the young riders stepping right up and challenging this $1 million course. Riding softly but deeply. As I mentioned, that time allowed of 87 seconds is not to be toyed with. Gets over the A and the B, but barely gets out over the C. Good job, certainly appreciated by the crowd. However, lots of course remaining. And there's the front rail with the hind legs at number 5. Barely gets over the water. Coming apart at the seams here. Unfortunately, I think that water was a little bit disconcerting to the horse, and then her trying to make some adjustment there didn't work out. Reattempting the Hickstead vertical. He's got a little bit of an odd jumping style when he gets up in the air, and he trails his hind quarters a bit. More trouble. More trouble. Well, second refusal, unfortunately, in show jumping is elimination, so there'll be no score for Miss Raflowitz. A tough break there, discombobulated a little after the water, the Hickstead vertical, then the same kind of a situation, a little bit of miscommunication maybe between the reins and the rider and the horse. Just didn't work out. Coming up next,
leading the way right now on the leaderboard as we have Roberto Duran with the best score at the present time. We introduce from Harriman, Tennessee, he rides for Windmount in Wellington, Florida. The welcome 23-year-old Sean.
This is Valinsky S, a 15-year-old Dutch gelding owned by Windmont of Wellington, Florida. 5 wins on the season already this year, more than $175,000 in earnings. As Sean Cassidy of Harriman, Tennessee, is up for the ride here on Valinsky S. He's had quite a very good year, and we'll see how he fares. We're still looking for even a 4-faulter at this point to excite the crowd. 8 faults still the best score, and this is our 10th of 41, but early disappointment there. Fence number 1 comes down for Valinsky. However, with a quarter of the field gone already, 4 faults at this point would take the lead, but not when you have a second rail and a third rail down. Now we're quickly up to 12 as we come around the turn to Purina. Coming to the Hartsoxer now with this difficult line. Makes a great effort there. Compressing. Very short in there for the Liverpool combination, jumping beautifully over fence number 10. Meter 60 effort successful at the Great American Insurance. Vertical. Liberty now. Lady Liberty at number 12. And coming home with a dozen. It's going to be very close on the time. So Valinsky S has picked up some time faults as well. 12 plus 1, 88.68. 88.68 with 8 faults. So Valinsky S, 8 plus 1, as we mentioned, that time is going to be a factor, and I don't know if the riders are looking to see how deep these turns are being made, or it's just that difficult to make the 87 seconds, but certainly a factor. And as we go on through this, again, being the 10th of 41, we're 25% already into it. And Brilliant De Rouet with 8 faults leads the 12 and 13 faulters.
As part of our international 5-star competition. So
moving up 1 spot in our order from Texas comes MTM Rive du Paradis from the MTM farm in Flower Mound, Texas. A 12-year-old Celle Francais gelding. Tracy Fenney is aboard, and Tracy is one of the winningest riders in Grand Prix show jumping in America, and certainly the finest Grand Prix rider ever to come out of Texas. 5 wins on the season already this year, and Rive du Paradis has already won $160,000 this year. There's more than 150 wins to the credit of Tracy Fenney and millions of dollars in show jumping earnings. Interesting story about the purchase of this horse when Mike McCormick, the MTM farm leader, purchased the horse on a Friday evening, and Tracy rode it on a Saturday afternoon and won immediately right out of the bag. Now there's something we don't see very often with this horse and rider combination. She just punched out the B element of that combination. So no clear round, but possibly a 4. She can keep it up. That's not going to work. That was more than just a toe in the tub. That was a body in the bath almost. So she's taking a little bit careful here as she comes round. Has 8 faults now. She'd like to lead with 8. Nice soft ride in that tight combination. You can see the rolling of that rail at 10. It's very big and very square. Over Great American, full meter 60 there. Rounding the turn, she's at almost 80 seconds, and I think that she'll be nipped on the clock as well. Just can't get down there in 4 or 5 seconds over the time now. So it's a dozen plus 1. Back to that magic number. One time fault. So a 9 fault error, and she moves into the second spot with 9 faults. Reeve Dupardi out of Texas with the incredible Texas rider Tracy Fenney, one of the leaders in Grand Prix victories. Victoria, British Columbia brings Ali Ramsey to the course now. This is Ermeline Vidi Hughover, a 10-year-old Belgian mare. Winner in competition in Bromont, Canada, in the Coachella Valley in California, and in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. A great young rider, coached by Jill Henselwood, who's a Canadian Olympic rider who's been a winner on the hit circuit for years and years and years. So she's the product of excellent coaching in Jill Henselwood and has done extremely well this year on Ermeline Vidi Hughover. Eight faults showing the way in today's million. Oh, the crowd loves that. We're penalty free up to the arena, but we've seen many of them already get through that part of the course, but then suffer problems later on. A beautiful effort over the water as she rates for the Hickstead. And still jumping well. A little bit more of an expedient turn there. Certainly aware of the time. But the Hearts, broken heart at the Hearts Oxer there. Ooh. That was strange indeed. An effort to get away with the hind legs, but the front legs did not work as well. We're at 8. Rounding the turn, the big Oxer opts for the dashing 7, maintains the 8 faults, is within the time at 84.95. That is the second fastest in the 8 fault category. So Ermeline Vidi Hughover is right in the second spot, however tied right now for the first position.
Sunday afternoon show jumping here in Saugerties continues with $1 million purse, and we're representing.
So the course again living up to the $1 million purse without question. In years past, there's usually been at this juncture at least one clear round as we welcome Opaline Z and Alexei Trosh riding for Argentina, an 11-year-old Zangerscheid stallion.
Representing Argentina.
A number of horses ridden by this young rider from Argentina. Tremendous number of South American riders joining us from various countries. And it's great to see that they've come here to Saugerties. We're almost in a little trouble there. We'll see what works out here. Still up, still good. Feisty horse here, Opaline Z. Over the Purina, easily over the water, but can he work this out? Oh my goodness, that was quite an effort there to rate the horse back as he charged into the Hickstead vertical, but here we go. He got away with that, but the horse just a handful right now, jumping right out of his skin. But number 10, so much fussing going on, it was almost a matter of time before the horse got the better of the rider. Nonetheless, only 4 faults. Now 8. His time looks pretty good. He was definitely, probably, if he can stay in the 8-fault category, he'll be right at the top of the class. Ooh, but it's a 12-fault effort, as the last fence is not a friendly one. So it's a dozen penalties. He makes it within the time allowed, and he is the faster of our 12-faulters right now in 83.86. 83.86 for Opaline Z. Aaron Vale joined us next on Finau 4. He was second in the Great American Million in Ocala, Florida, the Great American Insurance Company Million. Well over 160 or so victories in his career, and a tremendous amount of effort put into the Grand Prix this season on this horse. Just narrowly missed winning the Million in Ocala. Many people think that Aaron Vale, who's aboard for Thinks Like a Horse and Don Stewart, is a little part horse himself. Age of 13, he was able to ride in the Puissance in Texas on a great thoroughbred mare named Tin Lizzie and delight the Texas crowd beyond belief. In his 40s now, and it's been a career matched by few. Unfortunately, not respectful enough to the B element of the triple combination there. It's a 4-fault effort at this juncture. Makes it over the water, rating nicely for the Hickstead vertical. This has been a very difficult line here. People sometimes getting in wrong over the Hart's Oxer and then maybe having trouble here. But if not, fence number 10 has been very difficult for a lot of people. But you can see Aaron Vale rode that beautifully, the entire line from the Hart's to the Liverpool verticals down to fence number 10. There's an 8-fault score. It looked like he might get away with 4, but it's 8. Now he's got to make some real decisions here. What's going to happen? Is he rating back and now going forward? And that's a little too much gas, possibly. A dozen faults within the time allowed. And he's in the middle of our 12 faulters with a time of 85.87. 85.87 for Finau 4.
So the 2 8-faulters still leading the pack now as we get back in our original order.
Back to the order. 1164 is a number card for S&L Sage from the S&L Farms in Sherman, Connecticut. David Raposa is aboard the 10-year-old Belgian gelding. And he put on a performance yesterday on a different horse that amazed the crowd indeed to capture the title in the $100,000 event on Saturday afternoon and just smoked him. Was an amazing performance. 9 times a money earner this season, in addition to being 12th in the Ocala Great American Insurance Million. S&L Sage and David Raposa. Can he put on another show as he did yesterday to win the 100? We shall see. Looking for even a 4th Alter to take the lead at this point. And that's not going to happen here. Quickly with 8 rails at B and C of the triple combination. And a toe in the tub, as we say. So he's quickly up to a dozen. Right now we're looking at an 8-fault jump off if we were to pull up right now. However, there's many to come, and hopeful that one or more will provide us with a clear score. Round the turn to the Statue of Liberty, and well, that did not work out well. So when we look at the overview of the course, it starts off generously enough with the bending line to number 2. And then there's Airy Oxer at number 3 with the beehive configuration. But right off the bat, more or less, comes this triple combination, which is an oxer, vertical, oxer. 2 strides in each of those elements, between each of those elements. You don't see 2 strides and 2 strides that often, and it's a real athletic endeavor that's required there. Then he really starts to put it to you as far as being able to arrange your horse properly. It's the finish now for David Raposa. Tough break, a lot of faults. 16 and 3. So back to the analysis here. Once you get over the Purina, the big oxer at Purina, which is wide, the bending line to the water, which is 3.8 meters or 12.5 feet, becomes a factor if your horse has any inhibition about the water. Followed by the Hickstead vertical, where there are no standards. It's all just air around the turn. And now as you turn, when you're in the first round and you have that Hart oxer, you begin to think about the time, which is 87, and so many have not made the time, and you're aware of that. You try to ride down to that tight combination of Liverpool verticals. Number 10 has really been a difficult oxer to jump. Then the 2 big verticals haven't been that big of a problem, and then you're faced with the triple bar and an option down to the last pot of gold rainbow. So he works you at every opportunity. And again, that time allowed is in your mind the whole time, because it's difficult to make that. So you really do have to hustle. There's no time to think about it. Here's Call Me Hanitz. David Beisel is aboard this 11-year-old Holsteiner gelding owned by Harlow Investment Enterprises of Ocala, Florida. 3 times money earner in $50,000 events, and also a winner in Ocala, and 2 wins in Ohio earlier in the year. However, none of those events were over course of this dimension. And there's the C element. To have an athletic endeavor that early in the course, where you're still trying to get your horse to acclimate to the surroundings and everything, is difficult indeed. And he continues, Mr. Otto continues to test you and test your horse's ability to be elastic and brave and timely. 8 faults a little shaky here and there. Might be okay on the time, but it'll be fairly close. Just a little erratic, as I said. So 12 in 85.58. 85.58 with 12 faults. Believe it or not, that is fifth in the standings right now. A dozen faults is fifth.
Of course, for the richest prize money here in the United States here today. Introduce our next rider from Venezuela, and here is
Emmanuel Andrade from Venezuela joins us now. Just the letter U identifies this horse. 16 years old, a Dutch gelding. It's owned by the rider Emmanuel Andrade. Rides out of Wellington, Florida. He's already had 120-some rides this season in Grand Prix competition. Obviously not on just this horse, but winner at the Balmoral facility, the new facility of Hits outside of Chicago, which is rumored to be spectacular. Four other times money earner on the campaign this season. Very tidy little jumper there. And he doesn't appear to be too big, but I think it's because Mr. Andrade is a tall rider. Hustling quite a bit over the water now. I know here he's got to really put the brakes on, but that big of a charge to the water makes that Hickstead vertical loom closer and closer. However, he's only got 4. Well, now he's up to 12. I did misspeak there. So you can see control is a tremendous part of this. This horse is a very tidy jumper, but can you control him? And there's options, the stride options that are here. 16 faults total here for Mr. Andrade. For you. You know, is it a 5? Is it a 6? Is it a 7 or is it an 8? Do I add up? Do I not add up? It's a very difficult number of decisions that he forces you to make. Thornhill Kate, now a 12-year-old Irish mare from a very, very famous family. This is Laura Chapeau, riding for Mary and Laura Chapeau out of Neshannock Station, New Jersey, the daughter of Captain Frank, as we love to think of him, was the captain of our United States equestrian team and one of the most famous show jumping riders, and certainly comes through in daughter Laura here with so many victories to her credit. Second in the 4-star event at the Devon Horse Show this season on Kate, and also third here in the 100,000. Unfortunately, fence number 3 not cooperating. Took a nasty fall the other day as well, and got right up as if nothing happened at all. Very, very durable rider, successful, tremendous number of victories to her credit. And again, from one of the most famous show jumping families. Her mother won the first recognized Grand Prix in America in 1965 in Cleveland. And a rail there at the Hearts. And we're in trouble here. Just wonder how much gas was taken out of Thornhill Kate because of her performance yesterday in the big event, and it might have been too much 2 days in a row. that much show jumping. So a tough day here for Laura Chapeau and Thornhill Kate, 24. The total.
The USA and Thornhill Cage, 24 jumping faults without 84.41 seconds, and they will not break through a top 12. In the field of 14 countries, Mexico is represented by Alberto Michan.
Alberto Michan now, Iron Horse Farm entry out of Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. This is GC Chopin's Bouchy, an 11-year-old Dutch gelding. 3 times a money earner in 4-star events at the Balmoral Park in Crete, Illinois, the newest and most spectacular venue for the HITS program. Also an award winner at 5-star events and earning money in Canadian competition. Alberto Michan riding for Mexico internationally on GC Chopin's Bouchy. We are still looking for someone to better the 8 faults that leads, but it would be spectacular, and I know the crowd will go absolutely insane for a clear score. But they are definitely getting their money's worth of show jumping action today. Of course, living up to the $1 million level without question. And a beautiful job being done all week long here in Saugerties by Martin Otto from Germany. That triple combination has taken its toll on so many. And there's a shoe in the slough. Some encouragement to get over that Hickstead vertical. It wouldn't be the first time that we had faults jump off in a Grand Prix, but I believe it would be the first time in the 8-year history that we didn't have at least one clear round. Alberto Michan from Mexico rounding the turn now with 8 faults, now 12. A very popular score. Can he maintain 12? I believe there are 4, now 5. Well, he got 1 time penalty, so he's in the 13 category in 87.20. 87.20, but that is the fastest of our 13 faulters. So we're looking at Brilliant de Rouet and Hermeline Vidi Hogova as our 2 8-faulters that are at the top of the course right now. And the competition very, very difficult and very, very intense. Lauren Tisbo joins us now out of Wellington, Florida. Competes in 5-star events and also in the amateur division. This is Mr. Visto, a 12-year-old Holsteiner stallion. And this will be a difficult test for her indeed. Again, 2 8-faulters are leading right now. A 9-faulter in Rive du Paradis, and then a good number of 12-faulters and a host of 13-fault efforts. Actually doing quite well right here with just the 4 faults. Let's see, official Lloyd Longnecker at the water very closely viewing the lath, the white strip. 2nd rail down and 8 faults now. A dozen very difficult oxer there at number 10. I think they take a sigh of relief after the Liverpool combination of verticals, but number 10, anything but a giveaway fence there. Coasting down now with a dozen penalties and make it 16 within the time of 85.58 with 16 faults.
85.58 seconds. That's the time of box they get out of that time allowed of 87 seconds. 16 jumping faults, however, will keep them out of our top 12. So you see 20 out of 41. We're going to take about a 7-minute break.
Actually, quite a good round, considering that is a young rider and also shows in the amateur division. But as we look back now again at our top performers, Brilliant de Rouet, owned by Lyubov Kochetova, is ridden by Roberto Terran, who rides for Columbia and was the winner of the Great American Insurance Company Million in Ocala. Though not a regular ride for him, definitely did a great job on the 12-year-old Oldenburg. And then we look at Hermeline Vidi Hokova with Ali Ramsey, a young rider. She was 7th in the 100,000 yesterday. Also an award winner in Bromont Thermal or Coachella Valley, Calgary, also a Nations Cup rider. So we have a young rider from Canada in Ali Ramsey, and a seasoned veteran, certainly a veteran of great accomplishment with Roberto Terran, who won the million in Ocala. And then we start to the 9 falters, MTM Rive du Paradis, and the winningest rider of all time from Texas in Tracy Finney. And then Opaline Z with a dozen, and a number of others with a dozen. And then we go into 13 faults. So nobody has even managed a 4-fault score as the tractors come in to refresh the footing after we have watched 20 of our 41 expected. Still a beautiful day. Breeze coming up a little bit. Footing is in excellent condition. As I mentioned, a number of the riders have already competed well at the Balmoral Park in Crete, Illinois. It's the newest facility for hits. Something to behold. I'm very happy to be there next week myself. And in the future, I'm sure that Chicago will come alive as a show jumping venue like never before with the addition of Balmoral to the hits program. Starting off the year, the hits programs in Coachella Valley outside of Palm Springs, California, also in Ocala, Florida. There's also the facility in Culpeper, Virginia. Saugerties here, of course. Crete, Illinois, south of Chicago. Used to be one of the premier racetracks in the Chicago area. Now has been completely renovated and is a beautiful show jumping facility. So quite an afternoon of show jumping for this, the 8th year of our $1 million events here in Saugerties. Brilliant de Rouet and the veteran from Colombia, Roberto Terran, is scheduled to do battle if nothing else changes from now with a young lady from Canada, Ali Ramsey, on her Hermeline Vidi Hokova, Belgian mare, and Brilliant de Rouet is an Oldenburg gelding. Interestingly enough, probably every horse in the field was full in Europe. Americans just have not caught on to the breeding programs that are producing Grand Prix show jumpers. So the Europeans enjoy American shoppers, that is for sure. So it's a tough course today, as we've seen. 8 faults tied at the top. A lot of double figures. And the time allowed, certainly a factor at 87 seconds. This is a very big ring. 87 seconds can be spent very easily in a ring of this size, 400 or so feet square at least. Jumps are absolutely beautiful today. And Martin Otto has done a great job. But during the week, the time allowed was always prompt. So shouldn't have been a surprise to any of the riders that he came up with 87 seconds at 375 meters per minute. That is a pretty good galloping clip. So no time to waste. Anytime you roll back like they do, let's say from the triple combination back to fence number 5, after the Hickstead vertical around to come to the Hart Oxer, again, that's a rollback. Opportunity for the rider to just relax a little too much. He knows that. He puts those rollbacks in there purposely, but they're not done there. After they get through the vertical combination of Liverpool verticals, and if they survive number 10, the Great American Insurance vertical at 11 puts another one of those rollbacks into effect when you come to the Statue of Liberty fence at number 12. Waste a second or two there, and you might only have a second or two period to waste at all. And then you try to get over the 7-foot triple bar with an option stride to the last gigantic Oxer at 14, which is the Rainbow Pot of Gold. A lot of decisions have to be made out there. But if it was easy, everybody would want to do it. And it is not for the faint at heart. Not at this height at 1.60 m, not with these distances, and not with the 87-second time allowed. So the footing, again, as we can see, being refreshed. Make sure it's in perfect condition, which it has been, in spite of all the rain that came. They have worked diligently and effortlessly and arduously, all at the same time, to make sure that the footing has remained in perfect condition. And it certainly is excellent today. Excellent crowd on hand as well. We saw some very good action this morning in the Diamond Mills Hunter Prix, the $250,000 event for the young riders, and now for the $1 million event this afternoon. Halfway through, 21 more riders to come. We've yet to see a clear round. 2 8-faulters are tied at the top, a 9-faulter in the second spot, a good number of a dozen falters, and 13 falters seems to be a popular score. 16, 20, 22, and it's tough going. Tough going, big jumps, beautiful day. Catskill Mountains in the background, puffy white clouds. Couldn't ask for better weather for a sporting event. We'll be finishing up their tractor work here in a moment or two, and we'll get back underway. Still lots to come. We've seen some of our $1 million winners already in the first round, but there are more to come. Todd Minicus coming up on Quality Girl, and also we're going to see Andre Tima and Contendrix. Great riders also coming up, Margie Engel.
And here from Wellington, Florida, we introduce Jimmy Toronto. He will start us off now with
Jimmy Toronto was my broadcast partner for the last 2 seasons. This time he's in the field. And he starts off our second half of the competition on Chiara Blue Diamond, a 10-year-old Oldenburg mare owned by Missy Clark of Warrenton, Vermont. And Jimmy won that big Grand Prix in Central Park. He's also topped the field with this horse in Lake Placid, New York. So he'll ply his riding trade. We spoke a little earlier today, and I said, "You've abandoned me for riding." He said, "Yeah, love doing the commentary, but saddle comes first." Absolutely riding way in front of the commentating. So we'll see how Chiara Blue Diamond fares. Round the turn expediently. Number 3, now the triple combination, which has turned out to be a plague to so many. And didn't treat Jimmy very well either. 2 of the available 3 rails come down. So he's quickly up to 8. water. A little bit of a wrestle down to the Hickstead. Gets it done. Kind of going deep but maintaining his pace through the turn as he comes round to the Hartsoxer. Some adjustment necessary here in the vertical combination. A little on the snug side, and then he forces you to go forward, which so many have had to break out that rail at 10, either in the front or behind. Meter 60 verticals at Great American Insurance, and now at the Statue of Liberty. Bang goes the rail there. It's narrow and it rolls very easily. Clips the back now, as you see, of the triple bar and on down to the last. So Jimmy with 16 here on Chiara Blue Diamond. Chiara Blue Diamond with 16 faults. Another of our Colombian riders now, John Perez, coming on course now for Daniel Rijan. This is Emir, just an 8-year-old Dutch gelding, international competitor, but relatively new to the 5-star level. John Perez, however, a winner in Mexico City on a number of occasions, riding internationally for Colombia. So 634 is the number card they've given to Emir. Again, just an 8-year-old, one of the younger horses at 8 years old to be at this 5-star level. A little bit of an adjustment made there at fence number 10. Taking an extra circle to get himself organized, but he's in danger of not making the 45-second time, and he does time out. So gave himself a serious handicap there. Time is of the essence with the 87 seconds, and he was in some need of a circle, an additional circle, which caused him to time out, as we say. You only have 45 seconds from the time the bell sounds to start the timers over the first jump. Has the C of the triple down. He'll have to hustle if he wants to make up that 1 second, and that just increases the degree of difficulty a bit more. What an effort over the water there. And not such a great effort over the Hickstead vertical. So John with the time looming. Horse jumping well up into the air. We'll see what happens here in this combination. He jumps so big in and out. But, as I mentioned, number 10 won't take any pressure at all. .16 now with the narrow rail at the Statue of Liberty hitting the ground. Here's that big wide triple bar. Now what do you do on the way down to the last? He makes it just a nice easy lope down there, banging it with the hind legs. It stays up, but it's still 16 plus 2 on the clock. So those 2 seconds were the 2 seconds that he wasted getting to the timers initially. So 16 and 2 for 18 total.
Next in our opening round lineup, here's the second of our 2 youngest horses here this afternoon. Also an 8-year-old to see a Dutch warm blood.
Eddie Blue. Another 8-year-old. Eddie Blue has done quite well. Nations Cup performer, and on the Nations Cup winning team in Ocala. Also a winner in the World Cup in Bromont, Canada. And a winner on the Great American Insurance Tour down in Ocala as well. Eddie Blue's an 8-year-old warm blood gelding owned by LL Showjumpers LLC out of Chester, New Jersey. Devin Ryan is aboard. So he's been quite successful as an 8-year-old, especially at the high level. Still hoping, still wishing for at least a 4-fault ride, if not an 8-fault performance. Eddie Blue through the triple. It's been a while since someone has been clear just through that portion of the course. He's up and over at 5, almost a stumble right there. Gets him nicely over the water, and some trouble here. How about that? So what has that done to his time? However, he lost all his impulsion there. If he tries to make it up and make the time allowed, then he may cause more problems. Now, if he keeps that pace and just gets 1 or 2 time penalties, he'd go to the front right away. So it could be possible indeed to go a bit slower, get the time penalty, but not the jumping faults, and get in front of our 8 faulters to take the lead. We'll see what happens with Eddie Blue. Still jumping clean. However, time ticking away. But 4 faults will still take the lead if he can get over this without too much time problem. There he is, 1 time penalty, 4 jumping faults, 5, and we have a new leader in Eddie Blue. We'll take another look at the ride here. This is at the Hickstead Vertical. How did he get this done? Amazing. There's your leader, your new leader, Eddie Blue. Just 5 faults, 4 jumping, and 1 time for Eddie Blue to go to the front. So interesting indeed there is that the time penalty won't have any effect on the fact that he only had 4 jumping faults, because he's right up there at the top of the leaderboard now, and he actually could win with a 5-fault score. Incredible. We continue now. Spectacular performance there by Devin Ryan. Here's H.H. Couture from Double H Farm in Wellington, Florida. Quentin Judge aboard. 13-year-old Celle Francais French-bred gelding. Five times the money earner on the campaign this season. Certainly capable of a good performance today if he can put it together. That's not the way to do it, however. You might hear him saying, whoa, didn't want to get too close to that vertical in the middle of the triple combination. Now he just carries 4. And remember that Eddie Blue had 1 time penalty, so if Mr. Judge and H.H. Couture can get around in 4 faults without a time penalty, he'll take the lead. Little deep here, little deep, little picky. Well, that was not his greatest effort riding to that oxer. He's got a little too careful on the way to the Hearts oxer, I think. 70 seconds as he rounds a turn to the Statue of Liberty. He'll be very close to the time allowed, if not over. Winding down. Very close to the time allowed. 4 jumping, now 8 jumping, and did not make the time. 8 + 1, total of 9 here, so he joins Rive du Paradis with 9 faults.
One of our most successful combinations here on our Saugerties Sunday, the 4th in 2015, a win.
Well, we've seen a number of the riders that have captured the $1 million prize previously. Here's another one of those riders in Todd Minicus and the incredible Quality Girl, the 14-year-old Oldenburg mare. Millions and millions of dollars have been collected by Todd Minicus. Over $500,000 recently by Quality Girl in her 2.5 years since she was in the Grand Prix division. He's the only one that could be a double winner on the same horse Andre Tima, who's coming up later, has won twice, but no one's ever won on the same horse more than once. This could be it. Coming off of an injury earlier in the year, but according to Todd, she has come back very well in her convalescence, and she's in tip-top shape, he said. Feeling great. All the jumping she's done this week was he started her on Wednesday, but did not push her into anything else during the week. So she's fresh, she's healthy, and she's very capable. Big effort for the girl there. She's jumping well, and she seems to be even calmer than usual. She's a pretty feisty mare. You can see a little bit of that there, but that was enough to cause a little problem. However, 4 faults will still take the lead. Todd knows about the time. 8 faults will not take the lead, however. So she's getting a little unmanageable. Dozen penalties, so nobody will, at this point anyway, be a repeat winner on the same horse as Quality Girl and Todd finish with a total of 16. 16 within the time for former $1 million winner Quality Girl and Todd Minicus.
8-year-old Eddie Blue and Devin Ryan from Long Valley, New Jersey, showing the way so far with the best score of 5. And here carrying the flag in Ireland, we introduce Paul O'Shea.
Paul O'Shea joins us now, riding out of Wellington, Florida, but internationally rides for Ireland. Winner of the $150,000 event. This is Scarra Glen's Machu Picchu. It's a 12-year-old Dutch gelding. 3 times money earners in addition to that 4-star $150,000 victory for the Irishman Paul O'Shea. Scarra Glen's Machu Picchu, still looking for something better than 5 faults. Eddie Blue put on quite a show, but crowd hopeful for a clear round at some point. Still plenty of riders and plenty of talent left to see. Asking for a little hole in between each of the elements of the triple combination. Fiorina jumping well, manageable at this point. Barely over the water. He's going to take a close look. No. It's good enough, according to our water expert out there, Lloyd Longnecker. A little close to the hearts, but he makes it over. Tight combination, clipped behind, 4 faults. Still, no, now 8 faults. Eight faults certainly still in a good piece of the money. If he can just keep the 8 faults, it'll be a handsome payday. Incredible effort there. A lot of rating going on here. And he gets around in 8 faults, and not just around, but I think he might be the fastest 8 faulter. 82.33. Yeah, I think he is second right now with that score. Scarra Glen. Yeah, moved into the second spot with a very brisk 8 fault score. Here's Alison Robitaille now, one of the riders that has been on a number of our international teams over the years. Very successful in European competition and Nations Cup competition. There's her jumper Ace, a 12-year-old Dutch gelding owned by Bertram Firestone out of Upperville, Virginia. So there's a lot of experience here in this rider, and the horse has done quite well. And we'll see if that international experience that she's garnered over the years with all the victories that she's been associated with in the Nations Cup competitions that she's ridden for our international team will pay off today on Ace. Down to the beginning of the triple. A, B, and C. Not quite enough to get out over the C element. However, as we keep saying, 4 is still a very good number. Good effort over the water. Can't go too deep here. 87 seconds ticking away. Liverpool verticals. Can she keep him off of 10? Yes. All right, 3 jumps to go for possibly a 4-fault score, but I think she's going to have a time fault. At 80, she's only got 7 seconds from now to get through the timer here at the end of this line, but there goes that rail, dashing the 4-fault hopes, and she did not make the time. So 8 + 1, 9. She's in that 9-fault category with Ace. That's, I believe, our third. Third to collect.
Out of our Saugerties $1 million purse. They're including this event here today have been $17 million Grand Prix over the 3 venues.
So Eddie Blue is our obvious leader right now with just 5 faults. 8 faulters include Scara Glenn, Brilliant Roux, and
from Germany,
Ermeline VD Hoghova. Then we fall into the 9-fault category. Ace and H.H. Couture, Reeve Depoitardi, all with 8 faults in various times. But here is another one of our $1 million winners, but not once, but twice. The German rider Andre Thieme from Plau am See, Germany. This is Contenders, his 13-year-old Holsteiner gelding, twice a winner. And Andre's been in the money 6 times, including his 2 wins. So one of the most, if not the most consistent player in all of the $1 million events. And certainly one of the favorites today. Was excellent in the Great American Insurance Company $1 million event in Ocala earlier this year. You can imagine how big this horse is because Andre's about 6'5". Making it work. He's got to keep him off the 10 fence. Prime real estate looking at 67 seconds. Time is going to be close. But as we mentioned, could you have 1 or 2 time penalties and take the lead without a rail down? Because he's not going to make the time. It's not going to make the time, but he is, if he leaves this up, take the lead. There you have it. 1 time fault. 1 and only 1 time fault. Contenders and 2-time winner of the $1 million, Andre Thieme from Germany. So the pressure is definitely on now. Definitely on. And who comes behind it but one of the most successful show jumping riders in America and Margie Engel. millions and millions of dollars in prize money won by this young lady. She's on the 13-year-old Oldenburg stallion Royce for Gladewinds Partners LLC out of Wellington, Florida. More times Rider of the Year of the American Grand Prix Association during its heyday than any other rider. Been all over the world and won virtually everywhere she's ever ridden. She could definitely get in there with contenders. In fact, if she can make the time allowed and maintain a clear score, she will excite the crowd even more. She's about 4'11", and Andre Tima is 6'5". More than just an incredible contrast. Just couldn't get out over that big wide oxer. Got to have enough gas to get through that triple. Second rail down for Margie. Testimonial to his consistency. Royce, well over a $300,000 winner this year. However, not having his best day. Now up to a dozen. And just kind of floating home with a 12 fault score, nicely within the time allowed at 85 and 40. And a 12 fault score. We'll go back to Ireland for the next of our riders now. This is Kevin Babington from Gwinnett Valley, Pennsylvania, on his own Mark Q, a 15-year-old Irish gelding. Major victories include several at the $100,000 level. Also an international rider in the international field for his native Ireland. Kevin Babington and Mark Q trying to make their mark here. A clear score would put him right in front. A 4 fault score would be excellent, but you've got to have something better than 1 fault if you want to take the lead. For a while, a long while, 4 faults would have been great, but with contenders with no jumping but 1 time, shown that you can jump it clear, but you do need to have just a few more RPMs to avoid that time penalty. Going a little deep into the turn to roll back here to number 3. Again, these rollbacks that Martin Otto has put into the course are costly. So are those 2 rails. And for some reason, he forgot that number 5 looked a lot different than number 1. And apparently nobody in the jury box. Yeah, they finally came to. Yeah, he turned the corner on the triple combination and went back to fence number 1. So there'll be no score for the Irishman, Kevin Babington. Sharon Wordley now, as we go from Ireland. Sharon Wordley of New Zealand comes up next on Barnetta, a 13-year-old Westphalian gelding. 3rd in the $100,000 event that took place yesterday, so he's putting the pressure on his horse. Shown in probably 20 countries in Nations Cup competition for New Zealand. And again, consistent over the course yesterday, which was a good-sized $100,000 course with, again, a very stringent time allowed. So he knows what the time is like here on Mr. Otto's course. Just needs to serve up a clear score. Triple combination right in front of the main grandstand, and they do love it when they're able to get through it without penalty. Carrying a reasonable pace. Are we going to see a time fall? No, we're not. No faults at the water. Looked like maybe there was a splash, but I think it was just dirt coming off the hoof. There it's spoiled at the hearts. That's unfortunate. The horse jumping very easily. He's rounding the turn right at about 70, which can put you very close to the time allowed. Now he's going to try and pick it up a little bit and do the very forward approach here. There you have it, 83.99 with just 4 faults, and we have a new second place. A new second place with Barnetta. We'll take another look.
So those of you keeping score this afternoon, this is a clarification on the previous entry. Babington actually was off course, so that was an off course on our previous.
Yeah, and off course. They're just correcting the situation from the last horse.
Leading the way on the Saugerties leaderboard, and our New Zealand rider currently in second with that 4-fault penalty. Eddie Blue, Devon Iron from Long Valley, New Jersey, currently ranked in 3rd place. 14 countries involved in our starting field here today. First of 10 riders that remain. And we introduce representing Chile. Here is Samuel Perot and Atlantis. Samuel, the owner of the rider on the 14-year-old Saugerties in Germany.
Here's a rider from Chile now with Samuel Perot and Atlantis, a 14-year-old Zangerscheide gelding. Tremendous number of international events. Money earner in Aachen, a winner in Kentucky, twice in Wellington with Atlantis. Samuel Perot riding for Chile and also riding out of Wellington, Florida. So we've seen a 4. We've seen a clear with 1 time fault. So in order to take the lead now, you must be clear and within the time. That won't be the case here for Mr. Perot. 2 rails down in the triple combination as he rounds the turn to the Purina. Fence number 5, water here at 6. Big gallop and trouble, but finds his way out of it there at the Hickstead vertical. A and B with the A down. Whoa, and a big reach there at number 10, which thank goodness didn't turn out to be anything more than just the rail down, but it did look a little scary for a moment. 16, now 20. Now 20, and we're a little out of control here. I think that our rider has selected to withdraw. No score for the Chilean Olympian. Atlantis, 1-time penalty is our leader. 4 faults second right now. And here's Enjoy Lewis, Joseph and Mary Tyree's entry. Out of Chicago, Illinois, Catherine Tyree is aboard the 13-year-old Belgian gelding, a $50,000 winner on the hit circuit during the summer. Already tasted victory, but in order to taste it again here at the $1 million event, you've got to be clear and you've got to be quick. Enjoy Louise. Catherine Tyree. Comfortably at 1 and 2. Jumping well at number 3, which is a substantial oxer. And enjoys the clear score, however, a little deep now as she approaches number 5. You get in those corners and it's costly on the clock. Really, you have to have a much more direct approach if you want to beat that 87 seconds, but she's cleared to this point. Unfortunately, the Hearts oxer down at midway point in the course. Number 10 still there. Right now, she's going to be very close to the time allowed with just the 4 faults. On the way down now. And it looks as though she's going to have 4 + 1, 87.29, and goes into the 3rd spot, second of the 5 falters, but a faster 5 falter. So
right now, 3rd place, or second last year, 3rd on the big board this year. So faster of our 2 5 falters.
We're watching her now as she comes in with the rail down at the Hearts. There's the 4 faults that she collects, and she collects the time penalty as well, but a faster 5 falter. So she moves into the 3rd place. Moves into 3rd with 5 faults, but a faster 5 for Catherine Tyree.
Originally from North Vancouver, British Columbia, veteran in 25 Nations Cups. She was a part of the Rio Olympic team, Pan American gold in 2015 for the Canadian rider, here with Triple X, the 3rd.
Here's a Canadian Olympic veteran now, Artesian Farms and Torrey Pines entry, Triple X, an Anglo-European 15-year-old stallion ridden by Miss Tiffany Foster, 15 times money earners in 5-star events. And no pun intended, if there's a dark horse in here that we should consider, a lot of people think that this horse is right there as far as the capability of jumping in the big international events. However, right now suffering a 4 fault score with a C element down. Jumps the water easily. Taking a little extra time here to be careful at the Hickstead. She'll have to make that up somewhere. 4 jumping faults right now. Unfortunately, that did not work out well at fence number 12. So we're at 8 faults. Big, handsome horse just easily gallops down to fence number 14 to collect 8 faults, 85 and 16. So a very good 8 fault score for Triple X.
7 to go now. We have 1 time fault leading the way for Germany's Andre Tima, and we continue on and introduce Santiago.
As we go to Mexico for the next of our international riders, Santiago Lambre is aboard Dingeman, a 9-year-old Dutch gelding. Fourth in our $100,000 event yesterday. And a winner earlier on in another of our FEI events earlier in the competition. So he is also very familiar with the type of times allowed that Mr. Otto has put forth, that there is no dawdling, and Dingeman already earning a nice paycheck in that $100,000 event, fourth just yesterday. Can he repeat? It was a substantial course at $100,000, but not the size of this course. But the time allowed was equally stringent, if you will. I mean, it's certainly makeable, but it is definitely not a free ride on the clock. There's just nowhere to be casual. Moving up drastically over the water, and he gets it done, but what will that do here to the Hickstead? Able to restrain him enough. Takes a little breather here as he gets around the turn to the Hartsoxer. Ah, it almost stayed up. Mixed bag of 4 strides in there after the vertical combination. It's been a very difficult ride to fence number 10. He's at 8 faults now as he comes round the turn. He's in jeopardy of some time as well. You cannot get around to the Statue of Liberty and be anywhere near 70 seconds. You need to be a bit faster than 70 to avoid the time faults. But he has, in fact, done it. 84.98 with 8 faults. So in today's event, quite a good score, actually. 8 faults and 84.98.
We are down to 6 left, still 1 time fault, leading the way. Here is Saugerties Million. Next in the opening round from St. Charles, Illinois. Here are the bull run jumpers sending in Christian Vanderveen and bull runs testify. Prix ranks number 9 in the American Computer Listing this week. She's aboard a 13-year-old cell.
Bull runs testify as next to work here on the $1 Million course. Bull Run Jumpers Incorporated entry out of St. Charles, Illinois. And a winner of the Kindred Bio $35,000 event, Kristen Vanderveen, is up on Bull Runs Testify, a 13-year-old Cell Francais gelding. Just a handful remaining here with Contenders leading with 1 time penalty. So it will take a full-fledged clear round in order to unseat a previous 2-time winner. This would be the 3rd time, if he can pull it off, that Andre Tima has won the $1 million. Kristen Vanderveen is not usually a time fault competitor. She's now a 4-faulter, however. But she's usually an expedient rider as far as the time allowed is concerned. Gets away with a couple of hard wraps there at fence number 10. Just carries 4 faults right now, but Great American Insurance is down, and that now is an 8-fault effort. 2 fences to go here. Should be pretty good on the time, and 8 faults. That's a good score. And she is the fastest of our 8 faulters. Bull Runs Testify, fastest of the 8 faulters. Moves into the 5th position unofficially with that score. Amanda Derbyshire, riding internationally for Great Britain, comes up next. She is on Luibanta BH, a 9-year-old Irish mare owned by the Gotchman Sport Horse concern of Palm Beach, Florida. 3rd in the Devon $150,000 stake, also an award winner in the recent Hampton Classic that took place last Sunday. So now it's Great Britain chasing the German. Contenders, 1-time penalty. On top, Andre Tima, I'm sure, hoping that nobody can match that score for him to take his $3rd $1 million title. However, Amanda Derbyshire not giving up one iota. She'll have to be fully clear, however, no time faults. Of course, she could tie him with one time fault. Nice turn back here to the hearts, making sure she doesn't have a time fault. Bit of a reach over there. That tight combination at A and B of number 9. It's the hits triathlete combination. Still clear here. She's got to keep moving, though. Got to keep moving, keep moving. She's at 70 seconds. That's a danger zone right here. Still clear. Oh, makes a big effort over there. She's going to be okay probably on the time. And no, it didn't happen at the very last. 86 seconds. The time allowed in a 4-fault score.
That did not just happen. What a great ride. Please, big round of applause, Amanda Derbyshire.
She's in the 3rd spot. Amanda Derbyshire coming now to the last fence. This would be clear if it's, but it's not clear. A disappointment there. She moves into the 3rd spot, a little bit slower than Barnetta at 86.20. But what an effort for the rider from Great Britain, Amanda Derbyshire.
In the top 60 ranked riders in the world, she is up on the 11-year-old Dutch Warncliffe Gelding, a rider with 2 World Cup.
First of 4 remaining is young Hardin Towel out of South Carolina. This is New York, an 11-year-old Dutch gelding, Evergate Stables LLC out of Palo Alto, California. The owner's European tour was very successful. Winner in Tryon also this season, and blazed across Europe and did very well in 5-star events. So the degree of difficulty of the course should not necessarily be a factor. It's can he jump clean and can he make the time allowed. Hardin Towel coming from one of the most famous show horse and jumping stables, Jack Towell, a champion many times. His sister Liza Towell, winner of the International Hunter Derby Finals, one of the riders of the year on a number of occasions in the World Championship Rider event. And Hardin, a man who takes care of the jumpers, but that won't do. That just would not do there. And now 8. Things were going well until he got to fence number 10. And now it's come apart. So from clear to 3 quick rails and a 12-fault score. And some time as well. 1 time, a dozen, and 1 time for a total 13. Joins that big swollen group of 13 falters. Ladriano Z is our next, owned by Alexa Schweitzer of Muttontown, New York. A 9-year-old Saugerties gelding, ridden by Israeli rider Daniel Blumen out of Weston, Florida. He had an amazing week last week at the Hampton Classic. He won the big event and 2 other events with this horse, Ladriano Z, and certainly could be one of the favorites based on his performance of last week. We'll have to see how he does. A one-time fault leader right now, contenders. Only 2 riders could stand, 3 riders actually could stand in the way of the win by Andre Tima, which would be his 3rd capturing of the $1 million title. So just one easy, soft schooling round for this horse this week. And he jumped well. So this one might be a little on the slow side. He tends to lull you to sleep. A big horse, a big moving horse. But one-time fault is what leads right now. With the FEI scoring of time penalties, different than the American style, which is 1 second for every fraction. It's one time fault for every 4 seconds. Won't be a repeat for this gentleman, even though the horse jumping very, very well, coming around the turn 68, 69. He'll be close to the time allowed unless he picks up his pace a little bit, as many of them have done to make the distance between 13 and 14. But this is such a big moving horse. He just canters down there easily. He gets 4 faults in 84.44. He moves into the 3rd spot. Down here, and unfortunately the rail is down. Takes that 4 jumping faults and moves into the 3rd spot. Ladriano Z. 2 to go now. Uruguay is the international country that Mauricio Correro Colorado and Juan Manuel Luzardo riding for Uruguay. An 11-year-old Hanoverian gelding with a simple name of Stan. 7 times a money earner in 5-star competition, and was the winner of one of our international events here earlier in the week. He's the first of 2 that could challenge contenders. The only one that has jumped the course with no rails. So it is definitely coming down to the very end. A clear round sends contenders into the 2nd spot. One time fault and no jumping gives us a jump off. Crowd is hungry for another clear round. Heavy rating going on here, and didn't work out. Punch the old Hickstead vertical right out. However, he can still register quite a good score with a very good payday. Even with 8 faults, it will be a handsome payday if he can just maintain the 8 faults. And it will be just 8 for Stan and Juan Manuel Luzardo. An 8 fault score. just out of the 13th or 12th position. He's in 13th right now with that score. Our last rider to work coming up here next on the gray horse, we find Andy Coker of Ocala, Florida, riding for MKO Equestrian out of Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. This is Navallo de Fotian. A 16-year-old Cell Francais gelding. It's the last one that can change the current standings. The only one that can change the current standings. Contenders with one time fault leads right now. If he can manage a clear score on the clock and on the course, he can walk away with the winner's share. And if he's a little slow and happens to get one time fault to match Contenders, we'll have a time jump off. So we'll see. It all belongs right now in the hands of Andy Coker. One rail down and it's over. A clear round with 1 second is a jump off. A clear round with 2 time faults, it's over. Last to go, adding a stride. Can't afford a rail. Can't afford a time fault. And Andy's not a slow rider either. He normally is a brisk rider. This horse is jumping quite well. Pins and needles. Be the first time an Oklahoma owned horse. Third time winner is Andre Tima. Yeah, he's won for the 3rd time today and didn't have to jump off to get it. Well, it certainly proved out to be an exceptionally exciting class because it came down to the last horse. Unfortunately, this one unable to get the job done to force a jump off, and made us wait till the very end. So we definitely got our money's worth today. That was an 8-fault score within the time allowed for Andy Coker. He'll end up 9th overall with Navallo de Fotian. And what a tremendous day of show jumping. Never, ever has the $1 Million Circuit on the hits program not given us a tremendous finish. Unbelievable. Andre Tima now for the 3rd time. That is almost $1 million in earnings with 3 victories. So he'll be a happy man, and there'll be much celebration for Andre Tima. And Contenders has won now for the 2nd time as well. So Andre Tima, tremendous athlete from Germany, and has a tremendous European record as well. He'll be coming back for the winner's share, which is considerable, in our Hits $1 Million Sunday here, the beautiful Catskills, nearby to the Hudson Valley and the Hudson River right here. Tremendous crowd of show jumping fans enjoying every minute, and they got their money's worth with it going right to the very end before we could decide what happened. So 6 clear last year, only 1 clear with a time fault this season, and this was our 8th year of the $1 Million efforts being put forward by the Horse Shows in the Sun and Tom Struzeri. Incredible performance by Andre Tima. We'll take a look at Andre's winning ride now. You can see Andre, one of the tallest riders, at nearly 6'5" on the gray horse, and Contenders is a big, big horse. Andre's been in this ring enough times. He's also been in the ring in Ocala, and he knows this ring quite well. And he also knows Martin Otto, having ridden on courses for Mr. Otto's work in Germany. And I think he was able to gauge his ride time-wise may be better than some of the other riders, because he's used to riding in the European style, which I think might be a bit brisker than it is here in the States most of the time. You can see the horse just jump beautifully the entire way around. He comes into that combination of verticals, gets away with number 10, and Andre realizes there was no time to waste, and he still got caught with one-time fault. Here's this great ride around to the Liberty, and now to the final 2 jumps down to the pot of gold, and that's exactly what he'll get today, is a pot of gold. A huge pot. As I mentioned, with 3 times winning this particular type of competition, he's just short of $1 million with his 3 victories. So that was a spectacular ride there, as we got to watch that a second time, of Andre Tima winning for the 3rd time on Contenders. He'll be back here in just a moment for the acceptance of his prize. An excellent performance by our other riders that had just 4 faults and 5 faults, and even 8 faults was a great score today. But it was the biggest money prize, I believe, for the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th riders as well, when they begin to roll out those giant checks from the HITS organization. There's going to be some very, very happy people. Never got to see the jump off course. However, the first round certainly exciting enough. It almost was like a jump off the whole way around, once especially when Contendrix established his one-time fault, and then it came down to the riders who scored 4 that you know, had them in various places. But he was in jeopardy for a considerable amount of time as far as winning was concerned, with those that posted 4 jumping faults. It's a great way to finish. And here comes the big gray, and winner Andre Tima. The best prize, I believe, of the career at this level for Sharn Wardley, who will also be 2nd. So he had a tremendous day. 3rd time winner right here, Andre Tima. He couldn't be happier. His father, a top professional in Europe. Sure, he grew up riding from the time he was a young lad. Tremendous horse. Tremendous ride.
13-year-old Holsteiner Gelding for the win, as we congratulate in the winner's circle here this afternoon.
Let's see if they can get the blue ribbon on Contendrix. They may not want to do that at all. Here come the blanket, though. Up and over the haunches of our winner. Just a great day for Andre Tima. And as I mentioned, he does have the experience, the additional experience of knowing Martin Otto, of knowing the German way, and of knowing the speed that's in the clock in your head that you have to use. And that may or may not have been a huge advantage, but he sure proved that it worked for him today. Taking nothing away from all the other riders that did a great job. Enjoy Lewis, Eddie Blue, Gotchman's horse. All good performances. Second award, Barnetta. Again, probably the best effort and best prize, certainly at this level, for Sharn Wardley. And then Ladriano Z and Mr. Blumen put together a very nice performance. Apparently it's $340,000 to win. So if that was the case, he may have, well, his 3 wins, gone over $1 million. He's a very happy man. Andre Tima. Contenders winner here in the 8th year of the $1 million event here in Saugerties. On the Hits Show Jumping Tour, super exciting week indeed. Great number of riders here of very high quality and from all over the world. It was a tremendous effort by Andre and the entire staff of the Hits program.
One more time, ladies and gentlemen, congratulations to the $1 Million Man. He's second place in a great effort for all of these top competitors here today, and representing New Zealand with a big
Sean Wardley again is a second award winner on Barnetta.
Wilmington, Delaware, for New Zealand with the fastest of our 4-vault first rounds, finishing up in second place.
Barnetta owned by the Sky Group. Sean Wardley with a wonderful effort here. Horse jumped beautifully. Ladriano Z, and our third award winner, owned by Alexa Schwitzer of Muttontown, New York. Daniel Blumen out of Weston, Florida, riding for Israel as an international rider. Had a spectacular week last week in Bridgehampton, New York. Coming out here with a third award.
All the way to the very end, they finished up in fourth here in the Saugerties race.
Our fourth award to Louis Banta BH, Gotchman Sport Horse entry out of Palm Beach, Florida, with Amanda Derbyshire, who rides for Great Britain.
Fifth place honors will be going back to Chicago to congratulate Catherine Tyree and Enjoy Louis. And yet more the sixth place honor.
Enjoy Louis ends up as our
sixth place, shown by Joseph and
fifth award. Catherine Tyree riding out of the Chicago area for the fifth award.
Finishing up in the fifth place. Sixth place for the green ribbon, and the sixth place prize money going to Eddie Blue. The 8-year-old
Eddie Blue is our sixth award winner. It looked as though Eddie Blue was going to pull one off as well, but had 4 jumping and 1 time for a 5-fault total. But looked very good almost the entire way. Had a spectacular effort over the Hickstead vertical, if you recall that, if you were joining us during that first round action. That was quite an effort that took place there.
Seventh place going back to St. Charles, Illinois. We congratulate Kristen Vanderbeek.
Bull Runs Testify. Kristen Vanderveen was our 7th award winner. An 8-fault effort, well within the time allowed. She had quite a good round. Rails didn't come until later in her first round effort. Started off with quite a bang and ended up with 8, which still is paying a generous amount in the 7th position.
The 8th place honors will congratulate for Ireland, Paul O'Shea and Saugerties Machu Picchu.
Paul O'Shea, the Irish rider, and Scarra Glen's Machu Picchu, riding out of Wellington, Florida, ends up in the 8th position, also an 8-fault effort, well within the time of 82 and 33. And that was quite a good ride, considering the number of people that had time penalties.
Today, they were the very last of our 41 starters here in the arena, finishing up with a 9th place finish. Andrew Coker.
The 9th position in the standings goes to Navala de Protean and Andy Coker, riding for the concern out of Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. He was the one that could have changed the whole picture. And last to go had an opportunity to either unseat, tie, or end up somewhere in between, which he did. 9th for Andy Coker.
Top 10 in the award ceremony, our prize giving this afternoon, congratulating our 10th place.
Our 10th award, Brilliant de Rouet. Roberto Turan, one of the $1 million winners. He was a winner in the Ocala Million season ago. And tremendous effort turned in by Roberto Turan for Lubov Kochetova on Brilliant de Rouet. Roberto for Colombia.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to ask our winning rider, the $1 million man from Germany. Here's Andre Tima and the Contenders leading the Victory Gallop.
The Victory Gallop now with Contendrix and Andre Tima. Andre winning his 3rd time. Contendrix for a 2nd win. And a tremendous afternoon of show jumping. $340,000 to take the first prize here. And a beautiful afternoon in the Hudson Valley in Saugerties, New York, to round out this September to remember the 8th time Hits has presented the $1 million competition at this time of the year.
There's your top 10 with Andre Tina of Germany. Sean Woodley out of New Zealand in 2nd. Daniel Quinlan in 3rd. And Mandy Derbyshire for the 4th. We have the top American competitor with Catherine Tyree finishing out in 5th. Devin Ryan in 6th, along with Kristen Vanderveen.
Well, it's been a spectacular day. We'll sign off now from Saugerties, New York, at the base of the Catskill Mountains in the beautiful Hudson Valley. It couldn't get much better than our show jumping was today, with Andre Tima capturing his $3rd $1 million title, and that amounts to $1 million in prize money over those 3 events. Excellent field of horses, excellent field of riders, a wonderful job by Martin Otto. Thank you for joining us, and look forward to the actual telecast from Ride TV. I believe that comes up on September 20th. Check it out, Ride TV on Dish Network. Thanks again for joining us. I'm Mike Moran.